And welcome everyone to Animesplaining Bonus Edition, talking about Final Fantasy VII Last Order. So Marlon, a little backstory onto what the hell this was. um,
Okay.
so back in the day, after Final Fantasy VII was successful, and after um they were coming out with Advent Children, which was years after. A lot happened. The PSP was coming out. It was going to be a PSP exclusive movie. Um
Okay.
I bought a
That's a
PSP
move.
specifically for Advent Children. But
You're the
they
target audience. All right.
they also had like a series of cell phone games where you like played as the Turks, and other things to kind of get it going around. And they also paid Studio Madhouse to do a quick like vignette thing, which was this Final Fantasy VII Last Order, made to do the iconic scene of or situation of what that Nibelheim flashback is, and kind of work it in that way to make it all nice and pretty. So, knowing that as the backstory, what do you think of Final Fantasy VII Last Order in general?
I thought this was awesome and proved exactly my point that this would make a much better anime than it does a game. I was way more engaged in this. I was way more overabsorbed but enthralled. Like the fight scenes looked amazing, the characters looked amazing. I understood the scenes better, I felt, because I feel like the emotional weight and impact wasn't quite there in the game. Which is wild to me because that's the source, that's the original, that's a classic, that's where I should be feeling things. But for me, it's still just a bunch of Roblox characters acting off each other. So it kind of reminds me of the scene in Ant-Man, where Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket have shrunk down, and now a Thomas the Tank Engine train is coming at Yellow Jacket. He's like, "Oh my God, no!" And I gotta go. That's how I feel about all the emotional weight in the Final Fantasy VII game because they all look like these little round little Lego characters, which is wild because some of the FMV sequences look amazing. I keep thinking, why don't you just do that the entire game? Why don't you do that for all the important scenes instead of leaving them to be these little childlike characters? Like even a bit where Zack gets killed in the game, it just all right, he's dead. You shot him a few times and down. But here it is, this whole action sequence, and it's amazing. And I actually feel for the guy. I felt for the guy in this. I couldn't give a shit less about him in a video game, which is normally the opposite of what happens in media. So yeah, maybe they should have just did this instead of all this PSP crap.
I'm kind of
This
surprised
should
that
be a
you
full season. It is.
I'm kind of surprised that you empathize so much with the characters when this dub is legitimately bad. Granted, it's done by amateurs. Like this, we watched a fan dub overall because we normally watch a dub of some kind,
It's,
and there's no official dub that exists for this. Um, but yeah, the I'm kind of surprised that you came off positively because I did not.
I mean, the acting was terrible, sure, but I feel like if I watched the original, it'd be fine. I'm already used to bad acting in this in dubs in general, so in my head, it just harkens back to like old '70s and '80s kung fu movies, which all dubbed animes come off like to me in the first place. So it's fine that the mouths didn't match or anything. But I was able to understand Tifa's stupid costume finally with the freaking cowboy outfit. It's like, oh, she was here to just guide these guys through her town, just trying to be friendly. I get it now. In the game, I'm just like, this is stupid. Why is she? Why is she like this? And I don't explain these things in the game. But it doesn't. I can't. It didn't stick as much. It just felt like in the game, it feels like a bunch of kids ad libbing or maybe like fan fiction or something. I can't take it seriously because it feels like kids playing with their toys. But here, seeing the actual characters do things, the only way I could think to describe it is what if you watch Cowboy Bebop and then they adapted the game to look like Final Fantasy, and all the cutscenes look like those Final Fantasy cutscenes, like all the main story beats look like that. It would have way less of an impact to me. And I think of shows like Trigun, suddenly like Ratchet Stampede is this tiny little black character, and I can't take his anger seriously. I can't take the violence seriously. It's it's kid stuff, and I know it's a very adult story in child wrapping paper, if that makes sense.
I understand that to an extent, and I will say that the thing that Last Order I think does specifically well with the property that no other like Final Fantasy VII thing has done is at least give us an idea of what Sephiroth is like before he mentally breaks. Like, it's just like a couple
Yeah,
lines, but it's like, oh, Sephiroth was so warm then. And like, we started Final Fantasy Rebirth. We watched the opening scene because I was intrigued by that, but we'll play it eventually. But like, Sephiroth is still like doing his monotone, I will give you despair voice. And in this, he's like just
yeah,
talking, just
yeah.
chatting, and it like seems a lot more useful. Granted, he still like ends up doing the mother thing, but like but
Yeah,
it like
he comes up more human
works.
in this a lot. I agree. I absolutely agree. In the games, it's like he was predestined to be evil. His character was just evil the whole time, and it kind of feels like, how did no one see that this guy was going to turn on him? Where it's like, oh, I can see how this guy is a friend that you trusted, and suddenly his seeing his mom in that state just makes him crash out. I finally understood that watching this, and I missed that in both games. This is technically the third time I've seen this scene, and this is the only time it really resonated.
I mean, technically the fourth, because you get it twice in Final Fantasy VII. You get the cloud version and then the real version.
Yeah, yeah. So I've seen this enough to realize why it's iconic, and at the same time, I feel like they miss me as a kid. They miss me with just the way generally the game looks. That's it. And I know that makes me a shallow person, but the appearance of the game makes these very important scenes ring a lot less.
No, and it's understandable. The most commonly used mods for Final Fantasy VII Original are ones that update the character designs. Like they're still like blocky. There's only so much that you can do with the engine, but they like work them a little bit better to look more look more like anime characters. And there are two recent ones. One is a retranslation that they went and like it builds in some like cut content from the actual game. And the other is a lighting mod where like the game has dramatic lighting. It's not so flat looking because there's almost obviously there's no real lighting engine in a PlayStation 1 game.
Right. I forgot I was going to say that for a second, but I can't. I also find it surprising that this resonated with me more than the new one, and it's mainly because the new one added all this extra bullshit to the story that's unnecessary. This reaffirms my thoughts that if they just did a straight adaptation of the original game, they'd be fine. I don't need the time travel stuff. I don't need the multiverse stuff. I don't need the ghost rolling stuff. Just this is okay. I'd watch an entire season of this and be fine. I'd watch it right now.
I
And I
don't
kept thinking, watching this, like, imagine the build up. If we actually had the build up for like 12 episodes to this scene, it would be freaking crazy. This would be one of the greatest animated. This is better than Lazarus. This is better than any episode of Lazarus out of all 30
No, this
episodes.
was not better than the best episode of Lazarus, which was like the men's rights advocate dudes that get beaten up. Like the only good episode of Lazarus that exists.
While I agree there, I'd say this is more entertaining than that. I've watched this 3 times already. Maybe because it's just easy to watch, but
Yeah,
I found this
it's
better.
only 25 minutes. It's watching a single episode. You're watching the Dino Riders pilot is basically what you're doing. Uh, but you
Yeah.
talk about extra bullshit, and that is the problem that I have with this, is that, and we'll get into this when we talk about Final Fantasy VII as kind of a multimedia property, because Square has been trying so hard with Final Fantasy VII for the longest time, and when we get the expanded universe in Star Wars, there's this common issue that they have where absolutely everything needs to be iconic. The Han Solo movie is the most egregious, like, uh, victim of it, where it's like, oh, how did Han Solo get his dice? How did he get his gun? How did he get his
Oh yeah,
iconic jacket? It's all of that stuff. And there's a little bit of that in this, where it's like, hey, Zach was just he is a guy who Cloud takes his identity from, who was a soldier first class, and that's mostly what you know about him, aside that he's like, oh, in his flashback he kind of seems like happy-go-lucky, and then he's tragically killed off, and we know he was dating Aerith. That's what we know about him. And in like everything since then, like Zack is just like, oh, he's this great hero who's able to fight so many dudes so easily and all this other stuff. And granted, that comes with like the, if Sephiroth is a soldier first class, then what do other soldier first class looks like? But I don't
Yeah.
know. It just seems like pointless myth building by comparison to what that original flashback is, which is the best that they've done it, where it's just they show up at Midgar, there's a fight, he gets unlucky, he gets shot, he ends up injured, and they just shoot him in the head, and he's done. There's no there's no lasting scene, there's no like, Cloud, you're my living legacy, like in Crisis Core, or any of this other like added bullshit. It's just there, and it's sad, and it lets you sit in it. And I think that's what made it powerful in the original, by comparison to like as we get into this stuff, which is kind of extra bullshit. This is probably the least bit of extra bullshit, but there's still extra bullshit there.
Saying it like that, I see what you mean. There was a tragedy in how mundane it was in the original game, that this guy that was a super soldier gets shot in the back, kind of like Leon the Professional, and that's how he goes out. Like it's not even a fair fight. They catch him off guard. The whole issue there was, again, the presentation. It's the mundaneness of that together with the mundaneness of the way the game looks that makes it kind of like, oh, I forgot the scene even happened already. Like, oh, they shot him and we moved on. But I feel like just having like actual animation or scene characters would have helped me a lot of that. While here, I understand it's a lot of extra bullshit, but it almost feels like apples to oranges. It's that different.
Mm-hmm.
Like the original game is just that bland, and this extra. That of course I'm gonna gravitate towards this because it's more visually appealing. The original, yeah, but I see what you mean when it's with the whole long speech thing and dragging things out. Like, oh my god, you're the chosen one, bullshit. While on the flip end of that, I understood the significance of Cloud as being a regular guy more in this one. Seeing what Zack is capable of doing and Cloud just steals his identity, now it's more significant. It's like, oh, it's just some guy off the street who was, what's the word? Stolen valor. It's just committing stolen valor, and there's a lot more impact here of that. While in the game, it kind of feels like, oh, you're both soldiers, you both kind of do the same shit anyway. Like, what's the big difference?
Yeah,
you do the same shit. You're the same guy with different hair.
Yeah, and I mean, in reality, it's like it's stolen valor combined with the fact that like Cloud is injected with basically superhero powers. Like it's like, oh, we infected you with this alien parasite thing that's just kind of been here. I hope that's okay. You're going to hear its voice on occasion. Hopefully that. Hopefully nothing bad happens from that.
I think it also helps that it's not just text I'm reading off a screen as matter of fact, like, oh, this happened. All right, then this happened. Okay, then this happened. Okay, and now we're moving on. All right, cool. Whatever. And the thing about the first game, it kind of feels like reading a Wikipedia article at times, while it helps to actually see what's happening.
No, and the thing that I like, there are two things that I like about Last Order very, very specifically, and it's mainly shots and actions. The first one is, this is the first time that I think they really legitimately thought about how the Buster Sword can work. And they do it a little bit in Advent Children, but I think this predates Advent Children by a little bit, where it's like, okay, Zack is protecting Cloud, so he just shoves the Buster Sword into the ground and puts Cloud behind it. It's like, here's cover for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
I like that it doubled as a shield.
And the other is when Cloud stabs Sephiroth in the back, that just scene where it's just like Sephiroth's perspective of like the tank that Genova is in, and then you just see it crack, like you don't even see the sword enter it, you just see that oh something has happened. Because this random goober just went up and stabbed him in the back. Although they did change the how Sephiroth dies, because he just kind of jumps into the live stream in this one. Cloud doesn't throw him in, which is much better.
Yeah, that I'll agree. I was disappointed in that.
I think they just couldn't think of like how the physics work, because in the original game, like Sephiroth stabs him and like lifts him up with his sword. So Cloud is like completely off the ground, and Cloud somehow like gains control and then throws Sephiroth into the life stream. So, but at the same time, just
Yeah,
Sephiroth going like, "Oh, I'm done," and then just jumping into the live stream is kind of it kind of
and they
doesn't
come back.
give you like the moment that that the actual game does.
Yeah, it takes power away from Cloud. There's less agency in that. Like Cloud didn't defeat him; he jumps.
Yeah.
That's a completely different result. That's someone forfeiting. That's the last John Cena match. He tapped himself out. He didn't really lose. So and with that, yeah, it takes away some of the impact. I didn't like that Cloud was literally shish kebab. That was pretty cool. Seeing that visually and animated, that was pretty awesome.
No, and when Tifa is slashed was pretty
Yeah.
decent.
Yeah. Again, watching it in the game is just like this little round character. I don't feel anything.
Oh yeah, and this it's like, oh, she fell downstairs. Like,
Yeah. Like watching the game is literally watching a kid play with two little toys. Like, oh no, Tifa.
Tifa just turns into Peter Griffin falling downstairs, and this.
Well, this is like, oh shit, you hit a woman. What's the matter with you, you monster? In the game, like, it's a doll. You hit a doll. Who cares? You're all the same shape. Whatever. I can't tell genders.
Oh, you probably know Studio Madhouse by quite a bit as I look through their overall stuff, because Studio Madhouse I feel like occasionally comes in, but like I don't know, sometimes it feels like they're overshadowed by like Studio Trigger and all of these other things that are out there now. But I mean, in the 2000s and such, like these guys were out there because they this is the one that did this is the studio that did Death Note. But for other stuff that we've done on Animesplaining, they did Death Parade, they did One Punch Man, they did Freyrin, but they also did the famous Marvel anime movies from 2010 and 2011.
That's where I know them. And the sad thing is, I know them primarily from that. Than anything else they've ever done.
Their character designs look so similar. Like, like
Yeah.
they have a very distinctive look of how their characters just kind of look. They're all spiky.
They're sharp. They're very sharp people. They made Blade spiky. Blade. He's just some dude with a haircut. Those are some sharp cheekbones. But yeah, and it's even if the show is garbage, it looked amazing. X-Men was terrible. It looked incredible. That's how I feel about this. Like you took a story that was already good and then you gave it some oomph with those visuals. Like give me 26 episodes of this. I'd be all on board. Try again. Do it.
Do you think if this if Studio Madhouse, so they're doing Freyrin right now, so they have quite a bit of money, I imagine. But if Square Enix suddenly came to them and said like, "Hey, we are not doing studio interference. We like what you did with Last Order. We want you to basically do the original story of Final Fantasy VII as an anime." Do you think you would connect with that better than you would the games or with like Remake and Rebirth?
Absolutely. I have no interest in playing the games. Even after watching you play, like, I'm not touching this. I don't feel like it. But just seasons of Final Fantasy as an anime, and we have Devil May Cry out there doing this shit. Why not Final Fantasy? There's like what 16 of these games. Each season could be a game from Studio Madhouse. And actually get into it that way. Season 1, Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 2. I can get into
Final
it
Fantasy
that way.
1 has no story. It's like
Make it like 2 episodes. Make it a pilot. We covered that quickly, but all the Final Fantasy games, even I'd love to see 10 done at Studio Madhouse. I really like the half 10 that I played before I got frustrated and stopped. I'd love to see Studio Madhouse adapt Final Fantasy 10 and any of the other popular ones that I can't be bothered to play because they look like shit to me.
Oh no, with Final Fantasy X, when you start to get into the Final Fantasies that are actually voice acted, I have a lot of trouble going like, hey, let's just do a media based thing that is just this, but not interactive. It just seems a little bit weird to me. Cause
I'm already used to it. Like we have the Super Mario, but we have so many video game movies out right now. That is what it's another one. What's another one on the fire? Throw it out there.
But like for instance, Studio Madhouse did the opening for Persona 4 the animation. So this isn't even
Right.
necessarily like the video game Persona 4. This is the just the opening sequence of it. And Persona 4 the animation is vastly like inferior to the actual game because the game takes its time. The game is kind of cozy. Like the idea of the Persona games is that the games are not fast, the games are slow. So by having this like anime that's made to tell this story in 26 episodes, it either feels like they're taking too much time to do something or they're taking too little time to do something. And I feel that that's what they would run into issues with if they adapted a Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 12. 13 is bloated as fuck because it's a trilogy. Um, or even Final Fantasy 15, which we'll get into because we'll get into Final Fantasy as a multimedia project. Because ever since Final Fantasy VII did well, Square Enix has been hoping against hope that Final Fantasy would somehow get to be something that was beyond video games. And I don't think they've been very successful at it. Um,
Yeah.
Famously, the Spirits Within almost sunk the company, like forced them to actually combine with Enix to even stay alive. Um, Final
I
Fantasy
heard that. Good.
yeah, Advent Children did well. Like generally the Final Fantasy games do well, but normally there's like this extra thing that they try to do. And I'm trying to think of why. Especially Final Fantasy VII, arguably the most popular one, never got there. Like, why isn't this a Star Wars when it so desperately hopes to be Star Wars? Is it just the fact that it didn't come out in the 1970s?
It's just the fact that they can't market it for crap. They have a perfectly fine story, and when they try to adapt it, they change it. Even doing a straight remake, they changed it again. Like, there's no point. Why would you do that? Your story's fine. Just take the same story and just dust up the script, make no edits, no changes, just reiterate what you already have there. Just do that in an anime, do that in a new video game. You could get a new audience just by exposing it to people who would normally avoid that kind of media. Like growing up, I was not a big RPG kind of guy. I like games like GoldenEye, WWF Warzone, WWF Attitude, WCW, lots of wrestling games in my childhood. But I generally avoided games like this until I games of stories in general until I got to Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PS2, and by then I got into. But people who aren't into RPGs and there's a lot changing the format alone